Make sure it shows up on Twitch. Alright, cool. Alright, and welcome. This is Nuke Marine presenting Let's Learn Japanese, a course series for the self-study Japanese from basics and beginnings up to intermediate and hopefully advanced. As usual, this is a, in fact, it helps if I have the, there we go. As usual, this is a Let's Read Japanese, so the idea here is off to the side is going to be the text that I'm reading. In this case, it's rips of the subtitles from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. And then up above was going to be playing the audio, or in this case, the video of the show. So I'll be listening as I read along. And then if I see something I don't know, then I pause it, look at it with the pop-up dictionary, and see what the word means. Simple as that. And again, it may sound like, well, if you're reading, what is it? Why are you listening? It's like, again, it is reading. And again, reading to audio, I think there's a lot of benefits, and I think the downsides are very minimal. Trying to find stuff that has audio that you can read to outside of TV shows is very difficult. But there are a lot of audiobooks out there now, and it's going to be growing, and it is growing, thanks to sites like Audible. So be willing to check that out. But again, this is just really easy if you just go with subtitles. Especially, I mean, like I do recommend, like, hey, your first 10 books are equivalent. If they're like TV shows, perfectly fine. And then after that, you maybe upgrade to either transcripts or light novels. And again, light novels, really good ideas if you go with audio. You got to it just trains you to hear stuff, because you're normally not going to hear it, spoken text spoken out loud. And so you may be mispronouncing words in a way you're not, because you don't normally hear it spoken, like tsubuyaku or unazuku. Unazuku. By hearing it, then it's like when you do say the word finally, then you hopefully say it correctly. It's just an idea, because I do notice I never really purposely trained pitch, but when I first started studying Japanese, I was fortunate that we're in the group where you can get audio, so everything I was learning had audio attached to it. So I was listening to words with audio, and then also I was doing the immersion for some points for a lot of it. So when it came to where I was hearing words, especially if the pitch wasn't right, then you kind of picked up, because you don't recall hearing it that way, because you're trying, especially when it came to singing, because if you don't sing the pitch right, it sounds off. And the same thing's going to happen with Japanese, because it's like it's not shika inai. He's like watashi shika inai. It's shika inai, because it's like it's hard to explain, but it's just the pitch is same in the middle. So it blends. So instead of being shika inai, it's shika inai. So the ka and the I, the I sound blend together, like you normally hear, like kai, as opposed to ka I. So if you change the pitch, then it sounds, you can hear the separation of the words. But again, you're not going to hear it like that. You're not going to hear shika inai. It's going to be shika inai. And that's one example. Same thing like when you hear takai versus takasa. It's takasa is like the fall is on the first syllable, and whereas takai, it rises pitch on the first and then falls on the second. Takai, takasa, semai, I guess hiroi, hirosa. So those are just some examples. Now, if you're reading and you're only going to read, you're never going to speak. Then really, yeah, pitch doesn't matter too much, but it is good to understand it, to know, like, because that's just an extra context that you get if you are listening, even if you don't speak. Let's just say you're just reading and listening, but you're not doing any type of output. That's just an example. And again, having a lot of audio to lean upon just helps. The other thing I want to really touch upon was, let's see, can I do this? I think. Yeah, okay. So I talked about this a couple days ago. Unfortunately, the stream didn't. I was streaming, but nothing was going on Twitch, so nothing got recorded or saved. But I was talking about gentleman DMG, or Dama. I think it's Dame and then G, so I think DMG is what he goes off of. And he's a professor of computer science. I think in Germany. I don't actually know where he's from. He was working, I gave him, I was putting out an idea there about, highlighting stuff, and then he took the idea and ran with it, and he created something useful. So anyway, the idea was, hey, we got MeCab. What if MeCab can scan text and use the the Morphman database. So the Morphman database in Anki is kind of what tells you, hey, these are the number of words that, based on the text that I get, these are the separate vocabulary, not vocabulary words, but these are separate morphs, which generally is a vocabulary word. It's not necessarily that. And because of that known database, what if you say scan some text and then just highlight the words that I likely don't know, and then my idea was like put a small little English translation above it, you know, like I guess what he calls it Agana. I was calling it English Kana, but he was calling it Agana. I guess that makes better sense than English Gana, Agana, or Furigana. So the example there, and it, you know, it comes out looking like this. So this is the transcript of Fullmetal Alchemist, but you can see here like yeah, it's updated. Now he improved it, so now it's, I think I would have to go to the website again, but the I don't know if he updated it like the one I was doing, but he changed it so now it also adds furigana above it. So there's actually Japanese pronunciations above the words. And then he also added a little bit at the end here. In fact, let me just show you instead of just describing it. Yeah, so this is the gentleman who did it. So I just want to show you what this kind of looks like. So this is based on his. So if you looked at mine of the similar product, a lot more of it's in black because I know a lot more words than him. Like his is around 2,000 to 3,000, mine's around 8,000. And even then, we're both low level. But you can see like mezamashi. In this case, well, that means actually wake up, but, or I guess it's giving, I wouldn't call it, would I call it alarm clock? Okay. Alarm clock. Mezamashi. I was thinking like waking up, but okay. But yeah, you can kind of see here, if it's in red, that means that the Morphman can't identify the word, but it tells it's where, obviously that's the guy's name. But yeah, so like I hear it, instead of yoba, so in yoba, no, yoba, or name, call out, fine. And then he did one extra thing, it's not here, but now he has it to where it adds a little, at the end of each line, it adds a little hyperlink to Google Translate and Deep Learning Translate. So it takes that sentence and puts it into Deep Learning, and you go to that web page and see what the translation of that word into your particular language of choice. In this case, English for me or him. But again, you can pick what you want. So maybe this whole Agana was a bad idea. It actually got a lot of negative repercussion in the discussions because people are like saying, "Oh, well, what the fuck do you need that for if you're in one or in two?" Because again, I took databases from N5 to N1 based on the JLPT Tango books. So I just put all those and then ran it through Morphman, gave the database to DMG, and then the idea was to demonstrate how as you advance in Japanese level, less and less of the page has information on it because it assumes you already know it. It only puts information for what it assumes you don't know. Based on, now it wasn't meant to be like you're supposed to put an N level or a JLPT level. The idea was that you use your own personal database, and your Anki deck, for example, would be the one that knows based on this. So the page would be tailored to your ability, if that makes sense. And then I thought later on is like, well, maybe if this idea is developed, then what if you can actually, instead of using Anki, because maybe people don't want to use Anki, they just read a lot. And there are some people who get really good in a language just by reading. What if you can train the Morphman through a web page? So in other words, as you're reading, if you see a word that you don't know but it's black, what if you could, let me go and turn this off real quick. What if you could, that word actually is marked, and the system knows that it's a word. So you click on it and you say, hey, I don't know that, and then it pops the furigana above it, or English translation, or just changes the color, whatever. Just say, hey, I don't know the word. Or if it's a word here, it's like, well, wait, I already know that word. I know that word means dawn. So you click on it and you say, hey, you change it to known. And if you do that enough times, as you keep reading, maybe it's going to be like there's a word you don't know, so you turn it to, you say, hey, I want to keep the kana on. Or then you later say, you know, hey, let me try the word again, but let me turn the kana off, but keep it blue. Like, hey, it's still unknown. Like, can I still remember what it is? You know, basically, this becomes, your reading becomes your exposure. Obviously, that's, but you training it based on, as long as you're consistent on saying, hey, what words have you learned? And like, go take this word and say, hey, let me take off the English translation. Cool. And then keep reading. It's like, it's going to stay blue, but there's no English above it. And they say, okay, cool. Now let me take off the furigana. So it stays blue, but now the furigana is gone anytime that word appears. And you keep going like that, and then you say, hey, let me just turn it black. I already know it. If you do this enough times, you can actually, if the reading is the Anki. So you just read every day, and that's your Anki that's basically doing what Anki was supposed to be doing, but you're doing it through the way you should be doing it, which is, exposure to the language. Hopefully that makes sense. That may be worth developing into an app. It could be an app for the phone, or a web page. And it sounds like it's probably isn't that difficult, other than the size of the file for processing Japanese. It's Unidic, and that's about how to gig in size. It's a pretty big program. But for other languages like English or French or Spanish, all you got to do is like itemize it by space, by words. Then as long as you got a vocabulary database, then you should be fine. But yeah, I mean, just imagine, like right here, this is a lady's name, Mitsuha. So you just say, it's like, you can click and say, hey, that's wrong or something. Just highlight the whole word and say that's, if you want to. And yeah, and maybe like for the English part, you might be able to like click on that and get a better definition, because some of these definitions are, they're the top level definition. And if there's like a comma, then what is it? Everything before the comma, so it doesn't get too big. So you need to keep this kind of short. But if and I think it's legit. Like you can just read, and and don't be afraid. Like like at his level, again, all this stuff is, a lot of this stuff is blue. But if he can click in and say, hey, I know what this means. I may not know how to pronounce it. Just take out the English. Just say, hey, okay, cool, that means English, or tsuri tori michi, for example, a passage or something. Then right click on it and say, hey, take off the English. Then later on, if you're comfortable, right click on it again, and then, hey, take off the kana. Just say, hey, you just, every day just kind of lower the level. Another day's passed, maybe you say, hey, lower the level again. Who knows? It's something interesting. I think it would be, it feels doable, because it's not saying, hey, you don't give it a JLPT level, you give it your level. And yeah, you just read from there. And I think, yeah, and again, I kind of, the English part is the egana, maybe not a great idea, and I apologize about that, but yeah, even that might be useful for someone starting off, looking at this, but you get to something like my stuff, and there's still some blue, but not as much blue. All right, so let's get started. So I forgot what time are we on. Okay, we talked a little bit. So I'm going to do the Anki reviews and then start it up. All right, let's do this. Start with kanji. Not much to do today for kanji. All right, like this right here. This is actually primitive, so. Okay, Koko. Good. Lance, Yari. Thanks to Evangelion for learning that word, huh? Yari. Divine Intervention, so that's the altar, and I will say, by the way, and I'll talk about this more tomorrow, but the gentleman who did the programming for, let's see, Tasuku Yuko Yumi, it's used in names. The person who made the program for the Egana, or using Morphman in order to make stuff readable. The same gentleman, what he did is he scanned those 5,000 novels, Japanese novels that are floating around, that little file that's floating around. I won't tell you where to find it, but you can find it. It's not too difficult to find. But anyway, he scanned it, came up to about 300,000 words. He did say, like, there may be some repetition, like, 1,000 of the books are actually like duplicates. So that's fine, but it's either 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. There's still a shitload of books. But what he did is, like, not only did he give me a frequency count by words, which was important, and he gave me some extra information like parts of speech, pronunciation, and the root word, the root of it. So that was really useful. On top of that, it had one extra thing, which is how many different sources that word appear in. So with that information, for example, let's say you have one book that has a word appear 50,000 times, the same word appear 50,000 times for whatever reason. If you just went on total frequency, that one book made that one word really high up in frequency repetition. So if you only went on frequency reports, that would be a high word, but it's not a really important word because it only appeared on one source. So what I did is I tethered the frequency to the sources. So I ranked the words by how many sources they've appeared, and I gave that a number, a ranking. I ranked it by that, and then also I ranked it by frequency, and then I sorted stuff by frequency. But if it's within a certain, if it's the frequency, if the source is much lower in rank than the frequency, then it got moved down to whatever the rank of the source was, the sources, because it wasn't enough sources to rank it as high as it should be. And I put in a certain, like, the first group, like, hey, if it's within the first 1,000 frequency, then it's got to be within 1,000. Then it's got to be within 1,000 of the, or it doesn't have to be. It could be below, but it can't be above. I'll put it that way. So it could be below in the number of sources, but it can never be above. That sort of thing. But I did tether it to. In fact, maybe I could have tethered it both directions. No. I think it's just better, like, pull a word down. Don't worry about pushing it back up. But anyway, the first set of 1,000, then if it's in underneath 2,500, within 2,500 words of frequencies, and it's within 1,500, 4,500 words within 2,000, 7,000 words within 2,500, then 10,000 within 3,000 ranks, 13,000 again, all the way up to 17,000, as long as it's within 3,000 ranks. Then I got up to about 22,000. It had to be within 4,000 ranks. Blah blah blah. After the 40,000 word mark, which you're not setting anything past 40,000, most likely, then it had to be within 10,000. So whatever. I called it like an optimal ranking. And I did show it to a couple of people. They seemed they were okay with the way it came out. Much better than the older list, which put some stuff higher, like the previous reason why I say it like that, previous kanji that's used in names, and names would make a kanji appear more common than it actually is. If it's a name of a main character, then that pushes that kanji up high. But if you do it by sources, well, not every person appears in every book, so that means that kanji is not appearing in every book, so that pushed it down where it should be. It's still an important one, but not as important as to the rank. Let's say in the third group, it might be in like the kanjis that are in the fifth group, which is from 2,000 to 2,500, for example. So on that, I'll probably be redoing the rankings on these kanji. That's not going to affect anybody really that much. All it's going to do is change if you ever add in new cards. That's all. So that's a minor thing. And what I'll do is I'll send a piece of paper or I'll send a text so you can update your own list, your own existing deck, if you've already been studying kanji. And anybody who's new to it, hey, they start off with the good list. Cool. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. And let's go. Anyway, dumbfounded. Redo that. Should remember to pause when I do stuff like that. All right. Quaff. There we go. Nomu. Right there. I call that the beer bong. Okay. Nomu. Nomihomu. Nonki. Nonki's a good one. Okay, good. Dumbfounded. Make sure. Aho. Akireru. Okay, cool. Aho. Bozento. Bozento. Ake. Okay. Kireru. Kireru. Boke. Boke. Pokemono. Dragon. Hold. Ryu. Okay, cool. You just mainly see this in people's names. Ryu, Yutaro, Yunosuke. Okay, cool. Family crest. That's Spider-Man. Okay, good. So Chimon, fingerprint, Mon, crest, Mon Shou, Mon Shou, Homon, Hamon, Hamon, Hamon. Okay. Okay, good. And what's the time right now? 10 minutes. All right, let's do some Morph Man. Cool. And I haven't been really good about adding new words to Morph Man in the last few days. I need to get back into that. Like, yeah. I was adding like 20 a day. I need to get back into doing the adding of it. Okay. Shimitareru. I know it's being cheap. Shimitareru. That isn't a good definition. Shimitareru. Okay, good. Shobu, shobu. Come. Shobu wa kimi. Shobu. Osaraku. Might possibly. Osaraku. 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 Okuri torokeru. Okuri torokeru. Send off. Okuri torokeru. Escort. Okay. Okuri torokeru. Kakarichou manager. Kakarichou shōshin ga kimarimashita. Kakarichou shōshin ga. Momu. So one of its massage. What's another one? Yeah, momi. Momimasu. Momi shimasu. Momu. Should be kataru, to have a shape. No, horu. This is carving something. Horu. Horareta. 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 Horu. Kakiageru. This is eat up quickly. No. Kakiageru in this case. Yeah, sorry. Put up by. Tell you what, this is what I did. I made a slight edit to my Anki deck. So now I have it where I put a note on front. And what I'd like to do for stuff that just is I kind of like having that there. Now, it may not help. It may or may not, but yeah. Kakiageru. There we go. Kakiageru. Kakiageru. Jigoku. Jigoku. Hell. Jigoku. Jigoku da ne. Jigoku. 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 Takamise. Just a name. Takamise-san. Mine, Takamine. Okay. Give it that hard, Takamine. I tell you what, I should know it. Takamine. Takamine. Toji. No, it's an investment. Toji. Toji. Toshi. Toshi. Okay, Toshi. Toshi. Oshitsu. Royal family. Oshitsu ni. Oshitsu. Oshitsu ni. Oshitsu ni. Yomitoru. To read, yeah, read someone's face or something. Yomitoru. 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 Okaetoku. Kind of like a bargain or a good purchase. Okaetoku. Okaetoku da ne. Okaidoku. Okaidoku. Ira. Itchy. Ira suru. Or annoying. Ira. Anyway, let me see. I'm bored. Chohi-san. Pitiful. Honto Chohi-san. Hisan. Tamerao. Oh, hesitating. Okay. Tamerai nagara. Do some. Keep forgetting that one. Tamerao. Tamera. Let me do another thing here. That one's been giving me a little difficulty. And when that happens, that tells me I should go in and bring out the... Okay, so we got the ta, me. Oh, okay, that's not too difficult. Okay, that's an easy one. Okay, ta, me, and na. Person, me, I, and naked. Alright. Alright, so that means you'd be hesitant to be in front of somebody else's eye if you're naked. So tamera, you'd be kind of hesitate to go out in front of you. Okay, I can visualize that. Did I? Cool. Tamerao, tamerai nagara, tamera, tamerai nagara. Okay. So you see, it's going. It's being kind of like someone like encourage you to do something. Going desa. Kikazaru. Kikazatta. Kikazaru. Shiori. Shiori. Just a name. But also is like bookkeeper. Yeah, bookmark, guidebook. Okay, so this is to Sakaeru. So Sakae, a fortunate, or the fortunate to. Sakaeru. Prosperous. This is for your understanding or to help comprehend. For your information. 参考までがいたい。せっこく Actually, I'm drawing a blank. せっこく即刻01は即刻即刻即刻発してない kind of like offensive or走ってないとAnd in case you're wondering, like, why it's doing it here, is that if I put it in the note in here, Morphman will read it and think that, oh, I know what this word is. But I'm not learning this. I'm not trying to learn the words. It's kind of there as a kind of a context, but I'm definitely not trying to learn this word. I'm learning that one. But yeah, this is kind of like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm cheating, but yeah. It's my study session, so I can do that. All right, good. Hashitanai. All right, good. Let's go to the decks, and we're at 32 minutes, so let's get started. Cool. All right, and I'm not going to be looking at this, but I mean, yeah, again, this is doable. So it's just that problem is, because the way it's doing the Ruby, certain words I won't be able to see the whole word, like Kisamada Nanzo. But yeah, sometimes it won't highlight the whole word. So like, let's see, will it do it here? Or does it there? Not seeing an example. But yeah, just take my word on it. Is that it's got some issues, and again, I was just doing this to kind of show what it can look like. All right, so let's go back to here and book 13. All right, let's get started. And if you've got any comments or concerns or questions, feel free to ask. I'll try to get to it. Let's do it. Turn the microphone down to 30. I'll probably forget that I turned it down. I usually do.
I saw it and came back. 我が弟子ながら大したものだ。そんな。でも、けじめはつけなきゃならないんだよ。けじめ。けじめはつけなきゃ。破門だ。Punishment? 停止の関係。おう、破門だ。破門だ。先生！あら。まだ記者は出てる。帰りなさい。お世話に。なりました。Okay. 205.
獣ドブリスデブリスドブリス獣だ獣たち
また近くに来たら寄れよ。
また近くに来た。
でも僕たち
バカ野郎先生でも弟子でもなくなったってことは、これからは一人の人間として対等に接するってことだ。
対等に接するってことだ。
何を遠慮することがある。
くそー。あれ、俺たち何しにダブリスまで来たんだ。シルさん、俺たち先に戻ります。
シグさん
殺されるなよ
先生、物面下げて戻ってきた。
どのすら下げてどのすら下げて戻ってきた。
何が先生だ。貴様らなんぞ弟子とは思わん。とっとと帰れ。
と早く急いでと帰れ。
先生、
僕たち元の体に戻る手がかりを得にここに来たんです。
手ぶらでは帰れません。
手ぶらで帰ります。
帰れ。
嫌です。
バカタレが。アルは真理を見なかったんだね。
はい、何のことかさっぱり。
ショックで記憶が飛んでいるのかもしれないね。記憶を戻してみようか。全身を持ってかれてるんだ。あれを見ていないはずがない。そうか。俺や先生は体の一部分だけど、支払った通行料の多さで言うなら、
支払った通行料
アルが一番真理に詳しいはずだ。
じゃあその時の記憶が戻れば体を取り戻す手がかりが。
しかしあれの記憶か。あれね。
なんかやばい。
やばいっていうかすごい。なんかすごい。精神がいかれるかも。下手すりゃ廃人。
精神ネーブ精神がいいか。下手すりゃ愛人下手すりゃ愛人。
それでも手がかりがつかめるならそれにすがりたい。
分かった。記憶を戻す方法を私の知人に聞いてみよう。
聞いてみよう。
だがその前にご飯だ。手伝いな。
はい。
間違いねえ。あいつが魂を錬成したやつだ。
The hell is that supposed to be? Chimera? 東方司令部イーストとして East Sea.
君来週から中央勤務ね。
はい。
ここも寂しくなるね。君いろいろと派手だったから。
いえいえ、将軍の若い頃ほどでは。
君が一生懸命やってくれたおかげでわしも楽ができたよ。
私も様々な仕事を任せていただいたおかげで見識が広がりました。
見識。Visual。見識が広がりました。
チェック。最後にやっと勝てました。
この一生は選別だな。
選別。この一生は選別だな。
将軍。選別ついでに頂戴したいものが。
Let's see。
ケイン・フィリー総長。
総長。総長。総長。総長。
バトー・ファルマン準尉。
獣医。That's supposed to be a warrant officer? What is that? 獣医. That's probably a lieutenant, not a lieutenant, second lieutenant, first lieutenant. It should be a first lieutenant. Let's see what we got. Warrant officer. Okay. 獣医. 総長獣医.
ハイマンス・ブレダ少尉。
ブレーダ少尉. Ensign.
ジャン・ハボック少尉。
Ensign or second lieutenant.
リザ・ホークアイ中尉。
He's a Hawkeye. Jean Habok. Habok.
以上5名。私と共にセントラルへ移動となった。文句は言わせん。ついてこい。
大佐、マジっす。俺最近彼女できたばっかなんですよ。
別れろ。
That's pretty vicious. Who's this guy? Is that Scar? Yeah.
またかよ。まだ傷口も塞がってないってのに。
傷も傷ができて皮膚が破れている。Open up a wound? A wound. 傷口。まだ傷口塞がっていない。塞がっていない。Sealed. He closed up. 塞がってないってのね。
シフ。ご無事で何より。国家錬金術師を殺して回っているそうだろう。
そうだね。
恨みたい気持ちはわかる。
恨みたい。恨みたい。
確かに我らの村を焼き滅ぼしたのは国家錬金術師だ。
Yaki. Let's see if that's a phrase. Yaki horo. Yaki horo shita.
しかし復讐は新たな復讐の芽を育てるだけだ。
芽を育てるだけど。
そんな不毛な連鎖は
もう。不毛自体。Okay, 不毛。その不毛な連鎖。That should be chain. That's a chain, right? Like a circular chain. Yeah, circle. Okay. 不毛な連鎖。Yeah, series. 不毛な連鎖は。
早々に断ち切らねばならん。
断ち切られば。
耐えねばならんのだよ。邪魔するぜ。おお、本当にいた。バッテン傷のイシュバール人。
バッテン傷イシュバール人。
約束通り賞金は山分けだぜ、ヨキさん。
That's a prize, right? 賞金は山分け。賞金は山分けだぜ。
あれヨキさんがいねえな。
あんたどういうつもりなんだい。
行くあてのないあんたをここのみんなを家族のように。うるさい。
行くあてのないあん
お前たちイシュバール人と一緒でするな。私は再びのし上がるのだ。
た。のし上がる。私は再びのし上がる。
のし上がって憎きエドワード・エルリックを追い落とすのだ。
クッキーエドワード。おい。追い落とす。
さあお二方やっちゃってください。
俺がここにいては迷惑になるようだ。
聞き分けのいいやつだ。
てめえ何しやがった。神に祈る間をやろう。何が神だ。
聞き分けのいいやつだ。祈る間。
もん。
待って、来ないで。私が悪うございました。命ばかりはお助けを。一生ついていきますから。
行くのか。兄が悲しむぞ。もう後戻りはできぬのです。
絹です。後戻り。It's pretty vicious how some people you don't mess with.
たぞ。待ってたぜ、客人。
お前の秘密を知っている。デビルズネストへ来い。おじさんたちの秘密を知ってる人？
おお、知ってるぜ、いろいろとな。
僕も僕の秘密を知りたいと思っている。
なら話は簡単だ。俺についてこい。
でも知らない人についていっちゃいけないって先生に習ったよ。
おめえはいくつよ。
14。
14たらもう一人で考えて行動できる年だろ。
Think for yourself. 行動できる。
先生がとかいつまでも言ってちゃダメだぞ。
そうか、自分で考えなきゃね。
そうとも。だから俺たちと
自分で考えた結果、おじさんたちを踏んじばって秘密とやらを聞くことにしたよ。
おじさんたち踏んじばって、おじさんを踏んじばって秘密をやる。密とやらを聞くことにしたよ。
結局は力ずくか。
力ずく。結局力ずくか。
お邪魔するわよ。ちょっとおとなしくしなさい。どう？中から体を動かされる気分は。
こんなことしたって僕の動きを完全に止めることなんてできない。
そうね。でも少し動きを鈍らせれば。
ことが
鈍ると少し動きを鈍らせる。肩がつ
怪我はないか。
頭打ったわ。
手間かけさせやがって。
おじさんたちは一体。
手間かけさせやて。I know it add a lot of time. 手間かけさせ。
そいつらはキメラ。俺の手
そいつらは決める。
下だ。
手下だ。手かだ。俺の手かだ。
Fullmetal.
Alright, so Roa, okay, Bito, Martel, Dosetto. Okay.
Alchemist.
Greed.
Fullmetal Alchemist.
おお、すんげえ。本当に空っぽだぜ。俺はグリード。ま、仲良くやろうや。
お兄さんたち本当は何者なの？
あ？
キメラなんて嘘でしょ。だってキメラが言葉を話すはずがない。
ありえないなんてことはありえない。現にお前の中にいるこの姉ちゃんは蛇と合成されたキメラだ。
蛇と合成。合成。蛇と合成された。
俺の後ろにいるロア、お前なんだっけ？牛？ええ。他にもトカゲにワニ、 さっき坊主が手合わせしたやつなんざ。
トカトカゲトカゲトカゲトカゲトカゲにワニ。
片足上げて小便するぜ。
しませんよ。
で処分するぜ。
犬なの？
ああ、なかなか便利だぜ。
ありえない。やっぱりありえないよ。第一誰が合成に成功したっていうのさ。
軍だ
だよ。
軍だよ。
そんな。
とにかくだ。世の中には日の当たらない裏の世界があるってこった。ちなみに俺はキメラじゃねえ。ホムンクルスだ。
ホモンキュラス。人造人間。Creative person。ホモンキュラス。ホモンキュラスだ。
ホムンクルス。
ホモンキュラス。
知ってるだろ？
知ってるだろ？
人工的に作られた人間。それが俺だ。
俺だ。
ホムンクルス？人造人間のことさ。人間は作っちゃいけないって本に書いてあったよ。
人間は作っちゃいけないって。
嘘だ。ホムンクルスが成功したなんて話聞いたことがない。
やれやれ。証拠を見せてやる。
なんてことするんだ。
これで一回死亡だ。
これで一回死亡だ。
そんな。
分かったが、ありえないなんてことはありえない。何よりお前の存在がそれを証明してるだろ。
何よりお前の存在がそれを証明してるだろ。
魂だけの存在のお前がよ。
どうしてそれを。
俺の耳には裏の世界のことは大抵入ってくる。
大抵 the lowest 大抵 basically 大抵入ってるくる。
さて本題に入ろう。
本題に入ろう。本題に入ろう。
魂のみで死ぬことのない体ってのはどんな気分だ。
どんな気分だ。試しないで。
個人の魂だけを錬成し他のものに定着させる。やりようによっては永遠の命を手に入れられる。
やるようによってようによってやるようによって永遠の生命を手に。
違うか。
違うか。
俺はグリード強欲だからよ。
強欲だからよ。
金も欲しい、女も欲しい、地位も名誉も、この世の全てが欲しい。
名誉も。
そして永遠の命もだ。
だって不死身なんじゃ。
不死身なんじゃ。
ちょいと丈夫に作られちまったんでな。
ちょいと丈夫に作られ。
200年近く生きてはいる。だが不死身ってわけでもねえんだ。
That's undead, but unkillable. Is it undead or unkillable? Vulnerable. Okay. だが無事にてわけでもない。
さて、俺の秘密は教えたぜ。次はお前の番だ。教えてくれ。その体の秘密を。
喋った方がいいわよ。バラバラに解体されて調べられたくはないでしょ。
無理だよ。僕にはこの体になった時の記憶がないし、錬成したのは僕じゃない。僕は何も知らないんだ。
じゃあその錬成してくれたやつだ。そいつに聞けばいい。
それは
R のやつどこ行っちまったんだ。
教えてやってもいいですぜ。弟さんの秘密を教えてくれたら。
Ouch.
兄さん、
まさかお前が誘拐されるとはな。
I assume that's kidnapping you, okay? マスコ前を誘拐されるとはね。
兄さん、この人ホムンクルスだ。
ホムンクルス？
お前いきなりバラすなよ。
だから僕たちが元の体に戻るヒントを持ってるかもしれない。
ウロボロスの入れ墨。
そういうわけ。鎧くんだけでことが済めば楽だったんだけどよ。
鎧くんだけで
連中と仲間だってんなら直接聞けよ。
連中？
その入れ墨をした連中が第五研究所にいた。
入れ墨をした連中大学研究所にいた。
そこで鎧に魂を定着したやつと会った。
そうなの？まあちょっと訳ありでな。そういうわけにもいかないんだ。そこで物は相談だ。お前ら二人は肉体を取り戻したい。
お前ら二人は肉体を。
そうだな。俺はお前にホムンクルスの製造方法を教える。その代わりお前は俺に魂の錬成方法を教えろ。10日交換ってやつさ。とはいえやっぱ元の肉体取り戻す必要あんのか？その体便利でいいと思うぜ。
いいかない。
そうか？腹も減らねえ、眠くもならねえ、疲れねえって。最高じゃねえ。
ふざけたこと抜かしてんじゃ。
抜かしてんじゃ。抜かす。貸してんじゃねえ。
便利だ。最高だ。何も知らねえやつが黙って聞いてるよ。勝手なこと抜かしやがって。
抜かしやがって。
魂の錬成方法だ。あ、んなもんミジンコ一匹分もくれてやる。我々
ミジンコ。ミジンコ。ピキ。Let me see something real quick. ミジンコ一匹。
クだら
悪党 Evil Group 悪党はボコルボコルとつくアクセルもぎ取るもぎ取る
すなわち俺のソードね
すなわちすなわちすなわちexchange for that すなわちねすなわち俺の
悪党とは10日交換の必要
10日交換
結局また力ずくかよ
to use force, right? Yeah. 結局また力ずくかよ
殺すなよ。
へいへいどっかの死刑囚より遅え
死刑囚より
次
ロア、鎧くん連れてけ。バラして解析する。ほっ。
ちょっと待て
無駄無駄。
解説バラして解説解析する
その鋼の剣じゃこの最強の盾は傷一つつけられねえよ。
鋼の盾この最高の盾は傷一つつけ
脳天がらけ
脳天がbrainless your brain is empty or skull is empty 脳天がら
あいって普通の人間だったら病院送りだぞ。
全然普通じゃねえのな。
いや体は普通なんだけどちょいと再生能力が過ぎるのと最強の盾があるだけだ。分かったろ。お前は俺に勝てねえ。取引した方が利口だぜ。お前あれだな。自分が傷だらけになるのは平気だが身内がちょっとでも傷つくのは耐えられなくて冷静さを失う。愚かだな。そうやって劇場に任せて貴重な情報も弟も失うか。
劇場そうやって劇場feeling 劇場そうやって劇場に任せて貴重な情報も失うか。
てめえを倒したら弟も取り戻しに行くさ。無限の再生能力じゃないんだろ。
無限の再生力じゃないんだろう。
生身の部分をボコり続けりゃ。
生身の部分ぼっこり続けりゃ。
こりゃ悪かったな、手抜きしちまって。ちょっと武男になるんであんまり見せたくねえんだよ。
ちょっと武男ちょっと武男になるんであんまり見せたくない。
言っただろ。
言ったら
お前は俺に傷一つつけることができね
つけることが
え。西通りの路地裏に落ちてた。
西通りの路地裏に
アルが消えて江戸までも。
あのバカども、もっぺん弟子入りさせても
っぺん弟子入れさせて
のを大切にしろってとこから叩き直してやるか。
叩き直して
わかりましたよ。さっき江戸君らしき男の子がデビルズネストって酒場に入ってったそうですよ。
居酒屋、酒場、で酒場に入って死んだか。
死んだか。よし、いいぞ。子供元気でなくちゃな。何度やってもお前は勝てねえ。さて秘密を吐いてもらおうか。
ありがとうよ。
あ？
頭に登ってた血が少し抜けて。脳みそが冴えてきた。
脳みそが冴える。できたら冴える。冴えてきた。
さすがうちの整備士だ。
さすがうちの整備士だ。さすがうちの整備士だ。
こんなんなってもまだ動く。
まだ抵抗するかよ。抵抗するか。これでもうおとなしく寝てろ。俺勝てよな。俺勝てよな。おかしいな。おかしいな。これがどうした何パターンならこんなもん。俺の盾に何をしやがった。
考えてみりゃ簡単なことだ。ホムンクルスっつっても体が普通なら抗生物質の3分の1は炭素でできてるってことだ。
降参物質構成します3分の1 one third is and that should be carbon でこれでできてるってことだ
炭素原子は結合の度合いによって
関数原子carbon power carbon atom 関数原子関数炭素原子結構の度合いによって
鉄の芯からダイヤモンドにまで硬さを変える
鉛筆の芯からダイヤモンドにまで硬さを変える
そこまで分かりゃあとは錬金術の分野だ
そこまで分かりゃあとは錬金術
いいぞこうでなくちゃ面白くね
そして今分かったことが一つ効果と再生を一度にすることはできない
効果と再生を一度すること
ただのちょっとつぼしなバカガキかと思ったが
ちょっとつ問診とちょっとつ問診ちょっとつ盲信ちょっとつ盲信なバカガキだと
だがその体であと何回攻撃できる
はい、ちょっと失礼するよ。
先生
こんなバカ誰がほうき一つ片付けもせんと何やっとるんだ。
片付けも戦闘に
すみません。
私の身内のもんが随分と世話になったようだね。
先生こいつ
分かってるよ。廊下まであんたの声は筒抜けだった。
筒抜けだった。
おいおい勘弁してくれよ俺は女と戦う趣味やてめえ一体何者だ
通りすがりの
トラベラー偶然通りすがりの
あの日見た空明るい
Alright, cool. 2358. Here we go.
強き者はさらに強大な力によって屈服される運命にある。
される運命に。
だが魂は負けない。そこに矜持がある限り、
そこに矜持、そこに矜持がある限り。
次回鋼の錬金術師フルメタルアルケミスト第14話地下に潜む者たち。
潜む。地下に潜む者たち。
見えているものだけが全てではない。
All right, let's bring up the second one real quick. Alrighty. Alright, so it started around a little about 35, so it came out to about 50 minutes. That wasn't too bad, so yeah. Pausing, reading, and whatnot. And yeah, I do try to read the Japanese. That kind of adds in the time when I know, a bad habit of scrolling down to the English when I don't really need to. Yeah, that was it. Again, these have been good episodes. I like how the story's going along. It feels like, each story's leading into the next, so it has you feel like, hey, you want to keep, feels like it's a very easy show, at least these beginning parts to binge on, just because, each time you see it, you want to see, okay, what's happening next, so it's really good that way. Some stories are written like that, others aren't. Like, they feel a bit more like at the conclusion it really is concluded. This one, it always feels like, okay, you want to, this is feeling like you want to go into the next story. Both have their merits, and sometimes it's kind of it feels like a cheap way of doing it. Like it's like I've seen some shows where actually the middle part was horrible, but they always had a good beginning, good end. I think what was a good one, like Heroes seemed to be that way, where it had really it grabbed you at the beginning, it grabbed you at the middle was like eh. Or were some others that were like that. A good one did it, but that was The Good Place, because it always ended on a sort of a cliffhanger. So that was pretty good. Like this one, again, you see, hey, it's not over yet. They got to have that fight, and then it's going to lead into some other stuff. I like the character though. That he was basically 1/3 of him is this carbon. Then, so he just was able to then, based on that, he was able to modify. Oh, sorry. Oh. Let's see. Hopefully this should still be working. Anyway, let me go on. This one guy was messaging me on there, but I don't want to show that on screen, so I'm going to turn off the monitor real quick. Okay, and just see what we got here going here. Okay. let's see. Good. And looks like that's normal. Cool. Okay. Turn this back on. Alright, let me just take a quick break. I'll come back. We'll be doing episode 14.
人類の至宝、まさに科学の勝利ね。シンジ君気づいたそうで、容体はどうなの？外傷はなし。少し記憶に混乱が見えるそうだけど、まさか精神汚染じゃ。その心配はないさ。そうよね。いきなりあれだったもんね。無理もないわ。脳神経にかなりの負担がかかったもん。心の間違いじゃないの？が完全に稼働すればいけるかもしれない。使徒に勝つつもり？相変わらず楽天的ね。あら、希望的観測は人が生きていくための必需品ね。
Alrighty. Got one viewer. Hey guy, gal, whichever. Oh, alright. Hopefully the stream's going okay. Alright, so what are we on to? Episode 14. Alright, so it's 1:30 on the time, so I'm expecting this to take about 40-50 minutes. Now I call that a day, so it'll be a little bit after. Okay. Here we go. Turn on TV. $136. Okay.
あれがロイマスタングか。
炎の錬金術師ね。
あの若さで抜擢とは。
抜擢。スペシャルセレクション。抜擢。抜擢とな。
どんなコネを使ったのか。
どんなconnections。どんなコネ。
上がる速度が速いと落ちる速度も速いものさ。
どうぞ。
失礼します。ロイ・マスタング大佐です。
あ、マスタング大佐。申し訳ありません。大総統閣下はお出かけになられまして。
どちらへ？
南部へ視察に行かれました。
南部へ？
南部へ。
嫌な匂いがするぜ。
だが懐かしい。これは
視察に来てみればとんだ見つけ物だな。
視察に来てみればどんな見つけ物。
突入。
小僧にしゅか。こいつはいい。だが戦うにはちょっと相性が悪いな。逃げさせてもらう。
様。
逃げるとは卑怯な。先生。
ブリードさん。
マーテル、お前は無事だったか。
どうしたんですか？ロアたちも戻ってこないし。
ああ、ちょいと面倒なことになった。逃げる算段しないとな。
逃げる算段。Seems that's a full phrase. No. Sandan. So I assume that's a calculation. Arakoto ten. Tedan. Shudan. Calculation. Management. Contrivance. Nigeru sandan. Nigeru sandan.
それは困る。
King Bradley.
誰だ、おっさん。
あ、大サンド。なんでここに。キングブラッドレー。
へえ。この国で一番のお偉いさんが何のようだよ。
君、年はいくつだね。
あ？
私は今年60になる。年を取ると体が思うように動かなくなってな。こんな仕事さっさと終わらせて帰りたいのだよ。
引退しな、おっさん。おいおいおい、なんつうおっさんだ。
ムストロング家に代々それし彫像です。
これで我がアームストロンガーに代々伝わりIt's 代々 right? 代々伝わりし映像術彫像術
では本気でやらせてもらう。
本気でやらせて
なんと名誉の
盗難とご婦人は確保した。あとは化け物どもを殲滅する。
主人夫人覚悟した
大総統のご命令だ。
化け物ども化け物殲滅する
久しぶりに血は筋肉を踊る。
久しぶり血は気
さすがアームストロング殿。俺もイシュバール殲滅戦に参加していた。
俺もイシュバール殲滅戦に参加していた。
元同志か。
Temporary。元同志か。
ならばなおさら。無駄な殺生は好まぬ。
無駄な殺生。
投降せよ。
投降。敵に降参すること。投降せよ。
殺すつもりなのにか。
おう。
ノア私はね、君のような最強の盾を持っているわけでも。全てを貫く最強の矛を持っているわけでもない。
全てを貫く。I know that's a weapon, halberds, but 最高の箱を出るわけでもない。
そんな私がどうやって弾丸飛び交う戦場を生き抜きこう
弾丸、どうやって弾丸顔、弾丸飛び交う雪、根性を切抜き、
宝石を立てて今の地位にいるか。
宝石を立てて
わかるかね。前君に最強の盾があるように。
最強？
私には最強の目があるのだよ。さてグリード君、君はあと何回殺せば死ぬのかね。
グリードさんはわからない。暗くてよく見えない。
グリードさん、ダメだ。今度開けなさいよ。ダメ、出しなさい。ダメったらダメ。
これで15回は死んだか。あと何回かね。てめえくそ
大騒動直々かよ。
尻尾を巻いて逃げてもいいぞ。
そうしたいところだが、犬ってのは忠誠心が強くてよ。
忠誠心が強くてよ。
そいつを逃がしてやってくれ。
頼んだぞ。
どれてんの？ちょっと邪魔しないで出しなさい。やだ。あんたとここでやり合ってる暇はないのよ。開けろって言ってんの。ダメだよ。出ちゃダメだ。いいから開けなさい。仲間がやられるのをここで黙って見てろっての。出すわけにはいかない。頼まれたんだ、二人に。バイジェット。お願いだから出ちゃダメだ。
おいおい、ブラッドレイさんよ。俺の部下をこんなにしちまって。
駒に情が移ったか。
Koma? Pony, right? Horse. Komaに情が。Komaに情が移った。
くだらん。
冗談？アホか。俺を誰だと思ってんだ。強欲のグリード様だぞ。金も女も部下も何もかも俺の所有物なんだよ。
所有物。所有物なんだ。
俺は俺の所有物を見捨てねえ。何せ欲が深いからな。
せ
強欲
強欲
ますますくだらんしばらく寝ているがよい。
逃げなきゃ。
お待ちたまえ。エドワード君の弟だね。怪我はないか。手を貸そう。
怪我はないか。手を貸そう。
はい、いえ大丈夫です。一人で帰れますから。
Fullmetal Alchemist. Fullmetal Alchemist.
ダメだ。マーテルさん。ブラッドレー。
Oh God. That's different.
兄さん。
大丈夫か。
兄さんこそそんな血まみれで。
Jeez.
勝手に開いて引っ張り出させてもらった。
助けられなかった。
アルは悪くないよ。さあ帰ろう。アル。
待ちたまえ。君たちには聞かねばならんことがある。
聞かねばならんことがある。
ここの黒幕グリードという男とは知り合いかね。
黒幕 Black Shroud. Maybe that one. ここの黒幕グリードという男とさ。
いいえ。
重要な情報を聞き出したりは。
何も。軍の利益になるようなことは。
になるよ。
勘違いするな。軍のためではない。もし奴らと取引していたら場合によっては軍の中枢に害なす奴らと手を結んだのか。
中枢軍の中枢。See that real quick. Hinge. No juice.
いいえ。他に質問は。
君の鋼の腕と弟の鎧姿。何か 関係があるのかね。
Let's see. Utak says, "Do you do this often?" It's pretty. Yeah, I try to do it. Try to do it daily. I don't really succeed at that. Let's see. 関係があるのか。
正直者だな。引き上げるぞ。
引き上げるぞ。引き上げるぞ。
君のその弟、大切にしたまえよ。
エルリック兄弟のことありがとうございました。
なんの国家錬金術師の身を守るのも軍の任務の一つ。
国家錬金。軍の任務の一つ。
どうですかな。あなたも軍に守られてみては。
国家錬金術師に？
いかにも。
見ての通り、私は病弱な主婦です。そんなものの力を借りねばならぬほど。この国は逼迫しているのですか？
逼迫。この国は逼迫している。
手厳しいですな。
手厳しいですな。援助。Let's see. 援助や気遣いなし。Oh, it's blunt to the point. Or, strict. 手厳しいですな。
また来ますよ。その時には心変わりしているかもしれませんからな。その
時には心変わり。Change of heart. Let's see. 愛情。
グリードってやつ、手にウロボロスの入れ墨があったんだ。
ウロボロス。
Utak asks, what program are you using to bring up the all right, so the it's called Yomi-chan, Yomi-Chan. It's just a pop-up dictionary. You provide the dictionaries. If you look that up on YouTube, you'll by for a person Matt versus Japan, he gives a really good explanation on where to get those. You know, he gives the links to the files and how to put it to use.
ほら、ヒューズ中佐にも話しただろ。賢者の石に関わってる奴らだよ。
ヒューズ殿。
He doesn't know that Hughes is dead.
エドワード・エルリック。あまり無茶をするなよ。
あ
あ。では、な。
兄さん。さ、僕の体があっちに持ってかれた時の記憶が戻ったんだ。
どうだった？
なんかすごかった。でも人体錬成については分からなかった。
そっか。
結局進歩なしか。
いや、そうでもないさ。大総統前に言ってたろ。軍内部に不穏な動きがあるって。
不穏な secret secret or private or let's see. Oriyaka. Oriyaka de nai koto. Well, something dangerous, but on deru koto. Disquieting. Fuan no goki ga atte.
賢者の石やウロボロスの入れ墨を持つ奴らに関わってるって。
Let's see. Herbervida, are you just learning Japanese? Yeah. So, yeah, this is part of my learning process is reading. Right now I'm reading to a TV show, you know, but later on I could be reading, it could be to a book that happens to be the audiobook playing. I like to read the audio. So, the easiest way to get something to read to audio is subtitles, but audiobooks are also just as good. But yeah, it's a learning channel.
だから尻尾をつかみたいって言ってたね。
グリードもウロボロスの入れ墨を持ってた。なら、なんで皆殺しにする必要がある？尻尾をつかみたいなら。
つかみたいなら。尻尾をつかみたいなら。
とっ捕まえて聞き出しゃいいだろ。
と捕まえて。と捕まえて。It means to take a catch. It's a stronger language. 捕まえて聞き出し figure out something hidden. Get the information out of something. 聞き出し。
そうだよね。それにたったあれだけの人数をやっつけるのに大総統が出てくるってのもおかしいよ。
ああ、どうにも納得できないことばかりだ。しばらく軍にくっついてみるか。
That means, yeah, くっついてみるか。
お帰りなさい、大総統。南部の視察はどうだった？
鋼の錬金術師の弟。ひょっとしたら二人の師匠も人柱になりうる人材かもしれん。
二人の意志。もう。
そしてもう一つ、思わぬ収穫が。
思わぬ doubt, unthinking, 収穫。That's a seizure. That's a なること。No. Yeah, seizure. Harvest.
あら、懐かしいわね。一世紀前にここを出た顔だわ。
一世紀前でここ
で起きなさい、グリー
ド。おやま、皆さんお揃いで。
いいざまね、最強の盾。
いいざま。言うと同時に。I could say the same manner of speaking. 言い方、OK。言い方。いいざまね。最高の盾。Strong shield or
おめえは相変わらずいい女だな。最強の矛。
Strongest shield, strongest. The strongest spear.
色欲のラストさんよ。
色欲。男子の情的な欲望 desire. Okay. 色欲の ラストさん、ラストさん。
暴食のグラドにおめえはちっとも痩せねえな。嫉妬の演技、またそんな趣味の悪い格好してんのか。
I like how they said like the difference between envy and jealousy. Envy means you desire something somebody else has. That's envy. Jealousy is when you're worried somebody's going to take something that you have. So, yeah.
タイダのスロースはどこだ。
タイダ。Wait a minute. That's 怠けること。怠けること。怠けて。怠けるな。laziness. Oh, sloth. Sloth. Oh, 怠ける。タイダ。タイダ。タイダのスロースはどこだ。
昔からサボってばかりでね。まだ仕事中よ。
Huh. Huh.
本当にどいつもこいつも100年前から変わっちゃいねえな。で、こいつは誰だ。
フンドのロース。
フンド。フンメ。フンド。Rage, anger. フンド。大いに起こること。Wrath. Wrath. Okay. フンドのラース。
ラースだ。
Wrath.
キングブラッドレイだろ。
そう、キングブラッドレイという名の人間としてお父様が最後の詰めに用意された私たちの兄弟。
年を取るホムンクルス。そんなありか。
ありえないなんてことはありえない。あんたの口癖だったはずだよ。
あんたの口癖だったはずだよ。
忘れたの？
忘れたの？
それとももうろく？
黙っ。
もうろく。それとももうろく。それとももうろく。
てろやブザイクが。
ブザイク。ugly. ブザイク。Let's see. ブザイク。待ってろや。ブザイク。
お、いいねその目。そうでなくちゃ。久しぶりに本性見せろよ。
久しぶりに本性。True emotions. 本性見せる。
ゲテモノエンビー。
ゲテモノ。ゲテモノ。ゲテモノ。La clumsy. ゲテモノエンビー。
クソが望み通り踏み潰してやるよ。
Crushed underfoot. 足で。Oh, stomp it. 望み通り踏み潰してよ。
よさないかお前たち。
よさないか。よさないかお前たち。
兄弟で争うなど。
誰？兄弟で。
そんな醜いことはこの父の前でしてくれるな。
よう親父殿。
親父殿。
しばらく見ないうちにずいぶん老け込んだんじゃねえの。
しばらく見ないうちにずいぶん老け込んですっかり年を取った。Look old. So grew old, right? Become old. ずいぶん老け込んだ。
グリード。
グリード。
我が魂を分けた息子よ。なぜこの父を裏切った？
なぜだと？
なぜだ？
それは親父殿が一番分かってることじゃないのか？強欲のグリード、あんたがそう産んで俺はその通り生きただけだ。あんたの元にいたんじゃこの俺の欲は満たされねえんだよ。
また私のために働いてくれんか。
ノーだ。
そうか。
趣味悪い。いい湯加減だな、つくしょ
う。いいば加減。湯。うん、湯加減。
地獄の豪華は。
地獄。うん、地獄の行化だ。
これほどぬるくはねえだろうよ。
これほどぬる
く。どんなもんか先に行って見ててやるぜ兄弟。
生まれた場所へ我が魂へ帰るがよい。
生まれた場所へ我が魂へ帰る。
グリードよ。
上等だ。腹壊しても知らねえぞ親。
殺して腹壊しても知らねえぞ。
来るべき日に向けて。
来るべき。来るべき日に向けて。
お前たちの変わらぬ忠誠と安寧を祈る。
お前たちの変わらぬ忠誠。忠誠。忠誠と安定安寧。忠誠と安寧を祈る。
ただいまセリム。
視察はどうでした？
実に充実した視察だったぞ。
実に充実。足りない点。結果がなく。Okay. So it's an overall good. 十分。Fruitful. Okay. Fullness. 実は充実した視察だぞ。
あなたもう若くないのですから後進に席を譲ってゆっくりなさったらいいのに。
後進に席を譲ってゆっくり。
いやいやまだ現役だぞ。
現役。いやいやまだ現役。Active service 現役。OK。まだ現役だぞ。
おおそうだ。
そうだ。
南で鋼の錬金術師にあったぞ。
小さい錬金術師の本当ですか？
セリムはエドワードさんの話が好きね。
だって最年少の国家錬金術師なんてかっこいいじゃないですか。 いいな僕も錬金術習いたい。
そんなもの習ってどうするの？
国家資格を取ってお父さんの役に立ちたいんです。
では将来はセリムに手伝ってもらうかな。
Well, again, it's Full Metal Alchemist. So, you know, probably not very good things are going to be happening to that to his wife and kid. Alrighty, let's see. 24. What are we at? Oh, 2358. All right.
異邦人の投げ込む小石は
異邦人、外国人、異邦人、foreigner、異邦人。Let's see if there's a better word for it. Yeah, foreigner. 異邦人の投げ込む、投げ込む。投げ込む小石。
波紋となって連鎖し合い。
波紋。That's a wave, rippling wave, right? 波紋。Waves, so ripples. Okay. 波紋となって連鎖し。Yeah, so from the. Okay. So the. Okay, I'm getting it. Okay, so yeah. They threw a pebble, this foreigner threw a pebble, which created waves, and essentially a chain of events, created a chain of events. Okay.
やがて大きな渦を作る。
大きな渦を。渦。大きな渦を作った。Okay.
見よ、今まさにその瞬間。
今まさにその瞬間。
次回鋼の錬金術師フルメタルアルケミスト第15話東方の使者。
使者。That's ambassador. Okay. Envoy. 東方の使者。
我笑みのうちに刃を持ちて。
Okay, 笑みのうちに。刃。笑みのうちに刃を持ちて。
賢者の石にたどり着かん。
賢者の石にたどり着かん。seeks たどり。知らない道。hidden? Oh, a difficult path. Tadori. Pursuit. Tadori. Chikan. So it seems it's finally arrived at it. Alright, cool. Alright, there we go. So we got two people watching. I don't know if it's the same two gentlemen that are asking questions, Vutakor and Dart. Alright, so that's about it. So if you're just coming here, you're watching, and you're like wondering what the hell's going on here. Okay, so again, the idea is, okay, I have learned Japanese. One of my problems was I wasn't doing a lot of the immersion that was necessary. A good way of immersing into Japanese is reading. But I want to make sure, it's like when you're reading, you want to make sure you're hearing the right way in your head. Now, normally if you've not heard a word in Japanese, you got to make it up. But it's better if you're reading, if you are hearing what the word should be sounding like. So you just read along as you're hearing it, and then what I would be doing is what I would normally do, whether it was audio playing or not. If I see something I don't know, I just look it up real quick. Yeah, that's it. And then you know, there are some stuff you look up, especially something like this can be, sometimes it's an easy show to watch, and sometimes if this one was difficult, this episode was difficult because there was a lot of military terms that were being thrown about, military magical terms. But maybe the previous episode that I've done, like, there were more slice of life. You know, as much slice of life as you can get into a alternate reality where alchemists exist. But yeah, it was like, again, you could read that, and that was a lot easier to follow. So it's where I would caution, even though you really love shows like this where it's action packed and there's a lot of visual stuff happening, it's like maybe don't pick this as one of your first things to do Let's Reads on. If you do something like this, pick a slice of life drama that's also fun, something you would enjoy watching. But that way it's a lot easier to understand and comprehend, and then the dialogue's easier to follow. And yeah, and if you do this for like I want to say, give it like 5 to 10 episodes. Not to 5 to 10 episodes. I mean, do it for do an episode a day, or maybe 2 episodes a day. If it's anime, do about an episode a day, and do it for like where it can fit about an hour or two. Like fit your reading to it, fit the time that you read, to kind of balance about the time that you're studying. If it's about equal, I think you're fine. Don't worry about doing this before you're at the equivalent of what I usually say is the N4 level, which is around 2,000 to 2,500 words. Yeah, you get that. Then I think I did the numbers recently, and here's the thing about vocabulary versus kanji when it comes to coverage. And I've told this before. Let's see if I have it over here. Yeah, so here's how it would work. If it were just doing kanji, and kanji is kind of like, just as far as Japanese is concerned, this doesn't count for kanji in Korean or kanji in Chinese, even though they're probably the same symbols, but in how it's used in Japanese. For kanji, if you just do like kanji count, if you learned 500 kanji, that covers 75% of kanjis used. You pick out a random kanji, 75% of the time it's one of these first 500. Go up to 1,000 kanji, the most common, and then you point out a random kanji. About 90% of the time it's one of these 1,000 kanji. Then to get to 1,500 kanji, you point to one random kanji, and it's like 95% of the time it's one of those 1,500 kanji. And then you keep going to about I want to say 2,000. Let's see, so 2,000 is about 98%. 97.5%. You get 2,500, you're up to about almost 98%, and then a little after 90, you're almost to 99%, and then 3,000, you're around 99.5%. So that means you point to a random kanji 199 times out of 200, it's one of those 3,000 kanji, and then you do a count. There's like 3,000 more kanji beyond that you might be able to find. There's actually tens of thousands of kanji, but as far as Japanese is concerned, there's like maybe 6,000 that is of reasonable expectation to exist in the written language of Japanese. That's kanji. Now, vocabulary isn't that straightforward. It isn't like in multiples of 500. For vocabulary, you kind of have to do it a little differently. Like the first 1,000 words. Let's say we did a scan of literacy. Now, this may not be spoken words; these are written words. First 1,000 words are about, I want to say. No, I'm sorry, so 704 words. So we'll say, keep it that way. So 704 words are used 50% of the time. So you point to a random word, 50% of the time it's one of those 704 words. You get up to about 2,500 words, now you point to a random word, now it's 65% of the time. Because you need 2,500 words learned. So that's about your N4 level. So 700 for your N1, for your N5, your basic knowledge of the language. So 70, learn about 1,000 words. 700 here, but just make it 1,000, make it easier there. And then get up to 2,500, now you're at that N4 range. And again, you've covered like 65%, so 2/3 of any word you're going to run into is going to be one of that. Get up to about 4,500 to 5,500 words. Now you point to it, now you've covered 3 out of every 4 words. And that's still a lot of words that you don't know. But again, it's like you've covered 75% of the potential, your potential of comprehending 75% of the language is there. Now you're up to, let's say, 7,000, now you're up to 80%. So 4 out of 5 words. And then you build up to 10,000 words. 10,000 words is what people learning Japanese tend to aim for, because that's the N1. And then, but even at the N1, that's like 82.5%. So that's like 5 out of every 6 words. So you can see it's this incremental progression. You got to learn more words just to get just a slightly smaller piece of the frequency of the language. But you do approach it like so. Getting up to 9%, you need like 2,000 words. So 9 out of 10 words. It's 2,000. That's like maybe a high school graduate might have that type of passive understanding of the language. Maybe not even a high school graduate. Maybe someone entering high school in Japan, a native in Japan. And again, I'm pulling that out of my ass because let's say you get up to 33,000 words. Now you're at 93%. But anyway, let's build it up all the way to 40,000 words. Now you're at 95%. So that means maybe 1 out of every 20 words you might not actively know. And here's what you find out with those 1 out of 20 words is that's the ones they put footing above. And when they did these scans, you got to understand is like there are variants of words that it's the same word. They might show it in hiragana, they might show it in katakana. I'm sorry, they might show it hiragana, katakana, or kanji. So that word shows up. So a lot of these words are the same word. Of these, let's say these 300,000 words that came from this scan of 5,000 books. So don't let that. I mean, take this with a big grain of salt. When it don't worry about the numbers. Just realize that you got to learn a lot. I mean, you can actually get what seems like fast gains early on, and it feels like, oh my God, Japanese easy, get fast. But then that mindset is you're going to run into a brick wall because it's that you got that fast gains, but that first 1,000 words covered 50% of everything. But then you got to learn 1,500 words just to bring that up from 50% just to 65%, just a 15% increase. That's like. You start feeling that, and then when you're going from 4,500 words to 7,000 words, now it's like I'm sorry, from 2,500 to like another 2,000 words to 4,500, and again you've only added another 10%. You studied the exact same amount of words that covered 65% just to cover that 10%. So that's when people realize like it's structured effort. The way I recommend to people then is, and I'm trying to think. Let me think. Don't sweat it. I mean, but there's a structured way you can approach it, and that's if you're going to learn like language actively. Then you don't have to have a big active like this is like the words you say when you say something. What you find out when you start reading every day is that you learn the words passively. There are words in here that I know now, like hamon right there. That's ripples. And I haven't added that to my Anki deck or anything. I didn't directly study it. Just that, I happen to be learning this particular thing for family crest because that's shimon for fingerprints, and then with ha is kind of like a fur waves. So that's the nami of tsunami, but it also has a ha pronunciation. But anyway, hamon, and so yeah, that's ripples, and densa. Well, that's chain and connection or take along. So it's the chain of events. So densa. So I learned these words just by the reading. So I'm like learning words just through reading, and that's kind of a fun way of learning words. Because you realize there's a limit to how much you want to put into Anki if you're using Anki, and soon you're going to find out like there's what I believe Anki will turn into. Personally, this is what I personally think is that as I will get to a point where I'm not worried about sentence mining. I just need to read more. I might add some stuff, but it's not about learning words. It's more going to be about learning phrases. And then what I also use Anki for is to make sure, hey, can I write words from memory? So if I hear a Japanese word, can I write it out? The kanji and all. And I don't physically write it out in my head, but I do know through my kanji decks that I'll know how to physically write out kanji. And then it's like I can physically write a kanji because I know that because of the kanji deck. And as long as I know do that, and then also if I know which kanji go in a word, then I know how to write the word. That's how it goes. So it kind of makes sense there. It's unlike it's a little different than when you're doing spelling in English, where again the way words are spelled follow a lot of the complicated words. They follow zero patterns, so you can't. There's like they say, there's no spelling test in Spanish or French normally. It's but English has it because of our weird way in which it's adapted other languages into itself, especially and it refuses to be. And you can blame the dictionary for this, by the way. It's the dictionary that I think has kind of forced it to where you can't change a word to make it phonetically written as it phonetically sounds. All right, you got to do it because it's how it's written in the dictionary. It's like, so Phoenix has to have a PH, even though just put an F there, and the OE just put an I. So FINICKS, Phoenix, or even just KS. Get rid of the CK. Just make it a K. Phoenix. All right, and you hear Phoenix, you know what it is. Why does you need to have it written out in a weird way? It's because of stubbornness, and I know you can't fight a language. I know that, but You know, maybe just to say, hey, you know, hey, screw it, do like Shakespeare did. Shakespeare spelled his name 3 different ways in his will or something, from what I heard. And you know, you know, you just, it's how it sounds. Just write it how it sounds. And I think the English, at least the English language, would be easier to learn it from a written standpoint. You know, still the complicated grammar, because again, it's, you know, adapted both German and it's got Germanic and Latin roots to it. There are a lot, and then of course it adapts other languages as well. You know, so yeah. Cool. I've talked enough. Wow, 5 years. Hey guys. So again, if there's any questions right before I leave, ask away, because I'm about to call it a day. It's 3:30 here in Japan. I don't know what it's like in the States, so I know it's late if you're in the States, and it's kind of early in Europe as well. I don't know, what time is it in Europe? Okay, yeah, I guess that's not too bad. Still early. 6 o'clock in the morning or something. Cool. All right, but yeah, by the way, I really like this show, so I can. This is a show, like if I did all 5 seasons, I would. You know, it wouldn't be a problem. But I, you know, again, don't want to just stick it to just one show. You do want to go back to reading the books of Harry Potter, then the other anime as well. So I like to keep this a little variant. But I will be probably finishing this show personally, and probably doing it like this. I just won't be doing it as a live stream. But yeah, this is a really good show. I really enjoy it because again, I've seen it before, and this is just different enough to where it's entertaining. And I also saw it such a long time ago that, you know, I've forgotten a lot of it. So that helps as well. That helps quite a bit. I think it's been what, 15 years since I've seen the first one. It's been a bit. All right, thank you all very much. This is Nick Marine, and I'll hopefully be back tomorrow with another 2 episodes. Later, guys.